apologize. I apologize for the delay at the beginning of the meeting. We had some technology problems and I had a cat problem. At any rate, let us begin with roll call, please.
It's not here, right? I don't see him here.
Dan?
Okay, yeah. Dolores? Here. Mike?
Here.
Dan? Yeah. Yes, he's not here. Roland?
Yes.
Dan? Stephanie, is
She's still trying to get
she's
it.
still
That's
coming?
still working.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
here.
Will?
Liz here and Kim.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's already.
Is Kim on? Okay. All right, so we do have a quorum. And Lenny, if you could check to see if there's any other board members on or waiting so that we can make sure that they're acknowledged for being present. The approval of the agenda. There was one addition, I believe, Lenny, you had something you needed to add?
No.
No, okay,
No, we didn't.
so we're good. Are there any additions to the agenda that anyone needs to? Yeah, okay. I would entertain a motion then to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Roland moved, properly seconded by Dolores. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All approved, all against, nay. The agenda is approved. Okay. All right, I'm going to start by presenting some board meeting guidelines. Our meetings have gotten to be rather long, and it's becoming a burden for some board members who have jobs and other obligations that they need to be to. Our meetings are scheduled from 10 to noon, so we are going to try to keep to that 2-hour schedule. Understanding, of course, that sometimes there may be an issue comes up that takes a little bit longer to discuss. But I would like to keep to that 2-hour meeting length. There really is no reason for a meeting ever to be more than an hour, but we do have a lot to discuss, and we only meet once a month, so I think 2 hours is appropriate. And if we go a little bit over, that's understandable, but I think we need to try to keep to that. Number two, we all get our board books plenty in advance, so please read through them. If there are any questions on anything that's in the board book, please submit those questions to me in advance so that I can get them to Lenny so that the staff can prepare an answer rather than spending 20 or 30 minutes at a board meeting hashing it out when an answer could have been given in 5 or 6 minutes. I think that will help to keep the board meetings to a reasonable time. Also, we're going to institute a time limit for questions. Not to be unreasonable, I'm not going to be a dictator about it, but we should have 3 to 5 minutes should be plenty to ask our questions that may come up during the meeting. Things that we haven't submitted in advance as part of a discussion. Sometimes questions come up. And so we need to try and keep our remarks limited if we can. Understanding, again, at times there are issues that come up that need further discussion. That's certainly acceptable. I'm also going to add at the end of the meeting, similar to what the Board of Commissioners does, and that is to have board member remarks at the end. So rather than interjecting our remarks throughout the meeting, at the end, we'll have a time-limited board member remarks section that we can then, and this is not going to be instituted this week, it'll be at the next board meeting since I'm throwing this at you this way, but just so that we can prepare. Also, if it's not on the agenda, we're not going to talk about it. That's why I asked at the beginning of the meeting if there's any additions to the agenda. If it's an urgent matter, of course, then we can add that to the agenda during the meeting if an urgent emergency type matter comes up. Again, if something needs to be discussed, we can discuss it, but we just need to control the meetings a little bit. Also, board members should be recognized before speaking, recognized by the chair and given the floor so that we don't have a bunch of crosstalk going on, which sometimes leads to arguments or confusion as to what we're actually talking about. So if you have a question or whatever, just address the chair, raise your hand, whatever, I will recognize you. And then you may speak. Also, we don't want any, and this really hasn't been a problem, but I feel like I have to mention it. I don't want any calling out of people. You know, let's not call out names and make accusations. Let's not use insults or a bunch of arguing. We are all adults here. We are all professionals, and we should be able to conduct a meeting with decorum. And that's what I'm looking for. So that is my 2 cents worth on guidelines for the meeting. Hopefully they're not unreasonable, but we have to do something to keep our meetings rolling and organized and professional, so that I don't get people coming up to me in public and asking me what the problem is with meetings turning into dumpster fires. So we're not going to have that anymore. All right.
Can I ask a
Yeah,
question?
absolutely.
You think we should have public comment at the end of our meetings
Yes,
also?
yeah, that was it. Thank you for reminding me. We do public comment at the beginning, which is time limited to 3 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing at the end of the meeting, because of course, during the meeting, sometimes issues come up that the public may want to comment about, and we will do that also at the end of the meeting. Again, time limited to 3 minutes. If someone needs to address the board, make a presentation, something that's longer than 3 minutes, they can contact the senior center here and get themselves put on the agenda to officially address the board. And that's the proper way to do it. And then again, we will, and I think we'll add board member comments at the end of today's meeting as well, as long as we're not running late, but definitely next month, that will be part of the agenda. Any questions? Okay. Public comment. Do we have any members of the public on Zoom that would like to make comment? Okay. Lenny, do we have anyone that has requested to address the board?
No.
No. Okay.
I will let the board know that you will be receiving a new link, because apparently Zoom has updated the policy, and I have been using a link that has been grandfathered in for the last year, but it is only 7. So you're only allowed to use it for 7. So this is why we've been having some technical difficulty.
Thank you. Okay, has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes? And have any comments, any additions, any corrections for the minutes?
It's 10:24. Stephanie is in the minutes.
Stephanie is in at 10:24. Thank you. Did you have a?
Yes.
Okay.
And here in our minutes, and I spoke with Pam about this, it says, after discussion, discussion brought a motion to purchase a vehicle. It's my understanding that we didn't vote to purchase it. We voted to table it until maybe this meeting or whatever. So if I'm right, then that should be corrected.
Dan, do you remember this?
I think we were trying to determine, I think we agreed to sell the older vehicle.
Yes. To the food bank
Yeah,
program.
and then we paused, we tabled the buying of the other vehicle.
Right, I think you're right there.
That's
We wanted some more specific
right.
specs and a chance to talk through some things.
Right, yeah, so the motion should be corrected to say that we made a motion to sell the vehicle to the
Food bank.
and then we tabled the purchase till this meeting, or to discussion of the purchase till this meeting.
Okay,
Does everyone agree with that? Okay. Thank you, Dolores.
Good catch, Doris.
I know.
Yep, absolutely. Any other corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. It's our approved. The Let's move on to reports. Commissioners report. Welcome back, Mr. Thompson. Thank you.
They're still battling over the proper gathering of funds, waiting for the funds from the government to come out. We have not yet received any. There has been some rumors that some counties have received some. The last time I heard, there was a 152-page instruction on how the money is to be spent and what it can't be spent on. So they're still working through all those little things. There was some discussion that when we got it and when we got going, we would request of funds from different organizations, and so we would tally them in and then go through on which ones fit the criteria. And so it's not something that the money comes in tomorrow, it goes out the next day. It's going to come in or it's going to get ready. And we have to research to make sure that we fit their criteria and then acknowledge what it will be spent for. And some of the counties that I've talked to are actually worried that the amount of money they're going to have, they may have a problem spending because of the impact they had on COVID. Everything has to be related, and the smaller communities, there wasn't a lot of impact other than some time off and so forth. But the amount of money they got is a lot more. So there's a lot of things to worry about. The same with closing of the buildings. It's every week we're getting a new update from the governor and from MIOSHA and so forth. At this point in time, the courthouse is still closed, other than using the protocol they have to get in. They've got a new machine now that it actually is not bad. It's a sort of a trinket thing. You come in and you do a touch screen and you tell who it is, if you're a staff or you're a visitor, and then it asks a few questions and it wants to know who you're visiting. Then you walk over to a screen and you put your head in it and it takes your temperature. It does not open the door yet. What it will do is it sends an email to the department that you're requesting, and everybody in that department will get an email immediately saying there's someone at the door to come in, and then one of those people will come and bring you in. So it has merit, and I think in the future it's going to be used for a security situation for the court system. So I don't think it's going to walk away. We have a meeting, they're going to discuss it on, I think it's June 5th, about where we stand with the door being open more. MIOSHA still got rules and regs until August, I believe, or October or something. And so it's one of those things, who has the power to change it? And I know had a person call about the county fair. It was a sponsor and he wanted to have a protocol on what we're doing for that. And best thing I do is we're following MIOSHA's ruling. As it changes, so will we. We do know the basics. We're going to have the, hand cleaning and sanitizing stations, and some signs basically say, do appropriate measures. But we don't know. We're progressing as the fair is going to be on. We had the county cleanup here the other day. That went over pretty good with everyone in there. So activities are starting to come back. I believe the Wine and Food Festival is moving forward on planning. So it's slow, but we're always got that back door opening just in case they shut us back down. In general, not a lot movement on the commissioner side affecting here, other than the funds are being discussed and just sort of trying to weed through the process.
Would you like to give us a quick update on the county cleanup?
Well, we had approximately 227 vehicles come through, which is about average over the last few years. We had collected 1,529 tires. That was a lot of tires. We filled up one semi and another one came, and we finished that one with 400, 500 tires in it.
My back can attest.
Yeah.
1,529 tires.
And we did approximately, I don't know for sure yet, the bills are coming in, but we did, I think, at least 7 garbage truck full of compacted goods, 90 some batteries. The white products are free on removal. The heat coals filled up one big large trailer plus some on the ground. So I think it was successful. We were only on the 41 a few minutes at a time to get everybody in, and I don't think anybody waited real long to get through. Everybody was very pleasant. The volunteers were all saying how people were thanking them for being there. And I must say, it was a big thank you to all the people that did show up, not only to participate, but to help us and so forth. And
I heard thank you, I don't know how, it seemed like 100 times from people. So yeah, the county really appreciates the work you do with that. And it's good for the county.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bill.
Do you notice a difference, like say 10 years ago, how much
when I
garbage there was to what there is today?
Yeah, when Mike Crick told me not be involved in it, he was telling stories when they first started in the 90s. They were over on by the Maine Society.
Right.
Well, they were telling stories of mounds of
Right.
tires and mounds of trash. And then we had satellite grouping where we had them in Greenbush and Spruce and so forth. And it was just tons. So yes, I think we've reduced them, but now we even had 6 stations at the fairgrounds when we consolidated. Now we're down to 4 and it's moving. We're not filling all of them up, everything. So I think we're doing a better job. Barton City Eagles were a group that went out and went into the National Forest and collected 3 trailers of trash. And that's really what it was for, to help that out. And they get to come in free of charge and go in. They take cuts and get them in and go back out again. So any organization that does that, when we have these activities, they're more than welcome to bring their stuff in. And we had to make a special arrangements for shingles. They brought in a whole big long line of shingles. So we had a small, they called me and said they had it. So we made arrangements with Smith Sanitation, and they brought in a low tub and they moved the shingles into there and we accommodated it. Because I thought the shingles was a problem in compacting into the garbage trucks, and it isn't. It's the weight. They weigh so much that garbage truck is leaving half empty because they get nailed on the road for overweight. So now I'm smarter in that. So that's why they did it. But yeah, it was a success at this point.
Thank you very much. Dan O'Connor, Superintendent's Report.
There's a lot of things going on right now, so we're trying to hire about a 6 teachers. We've had a little more luck with recently finding some experienced and certified candidates, so we're very excited about that. That's why I was late today. I was on an interview with the husband-wife combo, so hopeful that we can bring them to the district. We have $1.5 million of work going on this summer between ESSER funds and sinking funds and a window and door project and some fiber line and ionization air quality improvements in classrooms to classroom technology. Much like Bill alluded to, we don't receive the funds either. We have to expend it before we get it. So for cash flow, that's not the most ideal situation for a small school. So it's just going to be a little bit at a time, that we're going to be able to tackle as the process moves forward. But pretty amazing opportunity to make a tremendous impact for our kids, here in the community. And we're really trying to be strategic and be sure that not only are we strategically expanding programming and support for students, but also doing some infrastructure pieces that will give back to the district for a long time, long after, we're all there at that point. So very optimistic about that. And, just trying to wrap up the last 13 days here safely and smoothly without a quarantine and, just let everybody enjoy, this last stretch. We had a couple really awesome field trips over the last couple of weeks, a couple different locations. We got to go to Negovan for a group of students, with the Huron Pines Preserve for a few others. We have the Glass Bottom Boat Tour coming up here as well. In the next couple of weeks, students are thrilled to get out of the building and go somewhere and do something fun. So it's been a good finish. We had a huge number of athletes qualify for track state finals last Saturday. So we anticipate that we should have a couple strong candidates for state championships at the state finals. So we're a lot of positive things going on, which is a nice refreshing change after the last 9 to 12 months of just strife. It seems on a lot of that. So congratulations. Yeah, with graduation Friday, monitoring the weather closely on that one. We're trying to do it outside to the best of our ability. It now looks like it's going to be 50 or so, maybe rain, maybe not, with like 25-mile-an-hour winds. So it's not looking good right now.
Beautiful.
But
Nice.
we're just going to take it. hopeful that will change in the next couple days before we have to make a quick pivot to adjusting. So we'll from there.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions for Dan? All right, thank you. NEMSCO report. Vicky, I believe you are online.
For her to unmute herself.
Vicky, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah. We're just waiting on, we're working on the RFP process. And also waiting for us to updated guidelines on the masking and opening up the congregate meals or congregate. For congregate, that's about it.
So they haven't come down with guidelines yet as far as congregate meals?
No, June 1st is, well, they said something about this week, they're gonna be making some changes, but June 1st is the date they're gonna be making some big changes, I guess.
Okay. Anything
That's,
else?
and that's right around the corner, so hopefully
Yeah.
we can get started back up with the normal routine soon.
Anything else for your report?
Nope.
Great. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Regional Advisor Board report. I was unable to make the last meeting due to a conflict. So I do not have anything to report. I will update you all at the next meeting. In-home service report, Leanne. These are all in your tabs too. Leanne, are you online? Or are you coming up?
She might be coming up because of the speaker issue.
Oh, yeah. There's a,
Yeah.
Leanne is,
She's on her way. She just typed.
yeah, I saw that.
This
Hey,
is Stephanie. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you, Steph.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure you knew I was here.
Yep, we did. Thank you. We marked you present.
Okay. Leanne, Mike, I'll just tell her. We'll just have Mike look at it.
We should have Julie and Sean be on their way too.
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Julie and Shauna, you might as well start making your way up too, so that,
Yeah, it's my work. I think it's just mine right now. I picked all of them. I don't know what to do about it. Good morning, everyone.
good morning.
Why aren't you? Good to
What?
sit by me.
Because you're my favorite, but don't tell anybody.
I won't.
Okay, so good news and good news.
Yay.
First good news is that we are up again on hours from last year. We did 67.5 more hours total for the previous month. I can't breathe now that I ran up the stairs. And yesterday I interviewed 2 more people, so we have a total of 3 new direct care workers
Excellent.
that will be starting. 1 is already started, 2 more in the next 2 weeks. So we're gonna get some much needed help out to the folks on our wait list.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
I'm super excited.
All right. Any questions for Leanne? Short, sweet, to the point.
I like it. All right, you guys have a great day.
Thanks, Leanne. All right, Miss Julie. Complete with hair nap
Complete with hair net.
and mask.
Yes, and mask. Where I can't breathe. Do you want me to just go over the report that everybody has, or should, just if there's any questions?
Whatever you'd like to do.
Okay.
I guess there were some updates because I was given a new sheet.
Oh, yeah, because it was just a month. I
Oh.
accidentally, because I used the same format, I didn't change the month on it.
Okay.
Just kind of do a general for those who are attending online.
Okay, our yearly budget is 55,200. So far, I have spent $26,693.97. My monthly budget is 4,600. In April, I spent $3,886. which left 713. The food bank has not had meat lately for me to purchase, so I've had a lot of problems. I've had to go to Gordon's, which has upped my cost, and I was over budget last month at the beginning of the month. And same thing's gonna happen coming up next month, because I'm working on my order right now for June, and I cannot get meat from the food bank right now, so everything is more expensive. I've put in 1,286, or done 1,286 hot meals, 638 frozens, 426 sacks, and 113 congregate, for a total meals in April of 2,463. We put 598 meals in the freezer. And for the fiscal year so far, we've done 9,307 hots, 5,187 frozens, 3,008 sacks, and 540 congregate, for total meals as of the end of April of 18,042 meals.
Excellent.
Crap ton of meals.
Yeah,
That's
a
a
lot of meals.
Welcome to the senior center, man. Take the order.
Pretty much, yeah.
Any questions? Yes.
I have one idiot question.
There's
For
no
being my
idiot
First time here. When does the fiscal year start?
October.
Okay,
or-
so,
yeah.
so you're on track.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
you're definitely on track. I was gonna make
Yeah.
that comment, but yeah, so, yeah, our fiscal year is October 1st to September 30th.
But they can run that down. So
Yep.
oh, that's,
This is
yeah.
a convenient time to find out.
When I first started, I wasn't sure what it was either, so.
Any other questions for Julie?
Yeah, I noticed on the menu, when I looked on the computer,
Mhm.
you only have 4 days, Friday, there's no meals. Is that permanent or?
It's only because of she can address that, but right now, we are providing 4 days indoor congregate. We're one of the few centers that are pretty much
Mhm.
almost at 75 to 80% of normal operations. People can come in for fitness classes, people are coming in for congregate meals. All other centers are closed. They either do drive-through or they do home delivered meals. So we just opted to just not have that much exposure, just to do 4 days a week and then do the Friday as a carry out or home delivered meal.
Okay.
So they can still get their meals on Friday.
They still get their meals on Friday.
Right, and we did have one gentleman that was coming in, he just recently moved away, but when he would get his meal on Thursday, come in to eat, he would take his frozens home for the weekend, and that was an option if anybody wanted it. He would get frozen meals for the weekend,
Okay, perfect.
so.
Okay.
And Roland, since I'm here, are you staying for lunch?
Are you gonna stay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I know I have 4 of you that are staying.
Will, would you like to say for lunch?
No, I'm sorry, I have another meeting.
Okay.
Oh, you're not staying now for lunch? Because I
No,
was
he
told.
wasn't, I
I
was.
can't.
Okay, I was told both of you, so
Oh,
no
no.
problem. I will take you off and
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
okay, I'll just swap. Okay, anything else?
Anything for Julie? Thank you, Julie.
You expect to be back serving Friday meals
One, I would love,
as soon as you can.
well, if the board today, as part of my presentation, if the board just give me powers to just, when I find it out and not wait to the next board meeting at the end of June, you just say, okay, when you get the updates, follow the updates, and we just open, then I'll just have it. But as it stands right now, I have it a tentative fully reopening on July 7th. That would be a Tuesday. And that would be because of the mask mandates from the governor in July 1st. And so I figured we wait till after the 4th of July weekend, started on that Tuesday, everything would be normal back to operations, the doors would be unlocked, and we would be fully reopening. So
Great.
Excellent. Thank you, Julie.
Yep.
And Sean, transportation.
Isn't it amazing how we just show up for like a little tape?
I'm telling you.
Pretty good.
Take a number.
Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
Well,
Hi.
you're lucky. Also,
Hey, and you know what?
you get sick, I mean,
Your picture came out better than everybody else's. In each one of my transportation vehicles, there's a pamphlet with everybody's picture, anyone that drives. Also, there's a packet that has incident reports, accident reports, something happens during transportation. Same thing, we've got the paperwork, we fill it out. Also, we have had out-facing, in-facing cameras put into the, all except the Jeep. That's on hold right now. This is for security, this is for safety. Also, when you think about insurance, in the event there were an accident, I can go back, I can actually see what happened, what time it occurred. That way, if in doubt, it's there, turn it into the insurance, whether we hit a deer or whatever the situation may be, it's extra backup, security, and safety.
Yes. Excellent.
I just kind of gave you a real quick brief, what it costs for the month of April. This next one, it won't be until May on my report, but the van, we did have to have all new tires put on. We also purchased an additional rim, an actual rim. We had one of the other tires installed on the rim, which we can put in the van for an actual instead of the donut. If anybody's ever had a donut on their car, you're on the mercy. So those are some of the things that we have been doing. I am in the process of going through some possible future hires to get another driver, which we need to help fill in some of the gaps. And in June, we're gonna have a driver's meeting, kind of go through some of the safety protocols, features. And that, sometimes we run into little issues we've never had before. The what if, what the scenario is in case like this. So in the event we're downstate, the vehicle breaks down, who do we call? Have all that information. We don't have to wonder, we don't have to wait, we don't have to stress. And then last but not least, Lenny and I have talked, we've all talked with you about needing another vehicle to replace the Jeep.
And you should have that in your board book. So you have the MSRP sticker price as what we had. We'll have $7,500 that is already in reserve to add towards this.
How much?
7,500 that's ready to go towards this. And then she has her budget that has been allocated to her for the year. Does this price include the third row bench? Or no?
It does,
Okay.
it does.
So the MSRP of that price is included of the third row bench, because that would normally be an extra $1,000. And then Q straps, which are the straps that you have to strap the wheelchairs down, are additional $250. So you're looking at around 40, let me do the math here, 43,000. 680. At $43,930. So you would need a motion from the board to approve the purchase of the 2020 Dodge Grand Caravan XXT four-wheel drive minivan from Freedom Motors, one that we've already purchased from.
Any questions on the proposal,
Are
Dolores?
are we Have we turned anybody away because we don't have transportation for them?
So far, not that we've turned away. I've had cancellations. And some of it,
Cancellations, but we haven't turned anybody away.
So far,
because we don't have a
there's
vehicle to
only
take
a
them.
couple times where I've already, I mean, I'm booked solid. There's no, sometimes I can have a little wiggle room. I can fit them in, but sometimes I can't.
Well,
It
and that's,
is a
And now with
first
the Jeep
come,
moving over.
it is
to
a first
food
come,
bank.
first call. So I can't bump somebody off the calendar because somebody else called me and they need a ride that day.
and to answer your question, Dolores, is that we're still using the Jeep.
I didn't hear you.
We're still using the Jeep,
Yeah,
even though that we're trying to phase it out. But because we don't have a vehicle to replace it, we're still running the Jeep as a transportation vehicle. So we're still using the Jeep. If we were to not use the Jeep completely, we would have to turn people away.
so how many vehicles do we have right now for transportation?
3.
3?
It would be 3 with the addition of this new vehicle.
So this would be 4.
Nope, this would be
No,
3.
because the
Oh,
Jeep
this
We
would
would
be
is
still
solely
only
for the food
have
bank.
3 vehicles.
We would still only have 3 vehicles.
Now, here's an interesting one. And I have a client 3 days a week. So in other words, there's no way I can take those hours away because this person has to be somewhere 3, so I'm locked in. We just got another request. Same place, same time. They don't ride share as far as price. They each pay their own. So technically, there's 2, even though it's 1 vehicle, there's 2 separate. And because of COVID, until I hear otherwise, I have to make sure they're social distance. So we are using the bus 3 days a week now to do this transportation, which is fine. That's what it's there for. And if, say, 2 more people, they need to go to the same place. Same thing. I've got that bus. I've got the distancing between them. But yeah, I mean, I do everything. And that's why I always say, if you know ahead of time, call me as soon as you know. I'll look at my calendar. And if I've got that space, that time, you're on the board. The one word I do not like to use in transportation is no.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
New kid question, what's the 3rd vehicle? You have a bus and a Jeep van,
When we have a van,
and a van.
We have a mobility van that can seat up to 5.
Okay.
Now, to allay your fears, Dolores, is that we've already had contact from the county and other business partners to work events like Harmony Weekend, some of the other big things that we're doing in the county. They've asked, could we provide shuttle transportation? So the vehicles will get used. You know, like I said, the mask mandates are going to drop, so we're going to be able to have full capacity in our vehicles now. So starting probably, like I said, July 7th is when everything should go back. You know, we're not going to require, show me your COVID passport before you get on the bus. Our drivers will still be masked. So that's all I can control. But yes, the vehicles are being used.
I have one other question about this Caravan. When I look down the list of all the stuff,
Mhm.
the streaming audio and all that stuff, I didn't find wheelchair lift on the list.
It's in the back. If you open up the door,
The picture, is
Yes,
that what that is?
yeah, the picture shows it.
yeah,
But
and it comes
there's
down.
no wheelchair lift on the text.
On
Did I
what?
know?
on the description.
On the description. I
Yeah,
just want to
Maybe
make,
we have to pay extra for that.
well,
But
that's,
yeah, so this,
So
if I see that, what I don't see is it here.
I think what happens is that they put what's listed in the Dodge Caravan, and then what they do is they do a modification.
Mhm.
The modification is
We're
added
we're
to.
definitely buying a wheelchair lift
Yeah.
as part of this
Yeah.
40, whatever it is.
Yes, so
Okay.
it is not a lift,
I'm
it's just it's a spring
drop
loaded
down
ramp
ramp.
that comes out, so yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Is there
this,
any-
this particular company only
Anytime
sells
somebody wants
modified
to
vans.
come and
Yes.
spend some
Oh,
time with
okay.
us, we will actually show you the equipment. I'll put you in a wheelchair and I'll take you. everywhere.
That's fine. I'm happy. I just wanted to, I just noticed the,
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
noticed
come
the
on,
emission. and
where's
I-
your sense of
Yes, it's a good
adventure?
catch. It is.
I
We
can
wanna
do
make
it.
sure.
Did we get any other bids or any other, did we check out any other vans anyplace?
I gave that to you last meeting, and we didn't make a decision, so we picked the
Okay.
car for you this time, and
Yeah.
just said, this one, this is the
Okay.
best one.
Not only that, but even if some of the 19s, the 18s, some of the mileage, some of the gas, the whole 9 yards. And this vehicle here, out of all of them, this has the least amount of miles.
And that's important, because we're doing a lot of miles.
We are.
So,
Did we have any new vehicles like a price range allocated in the budget that was approved that would be there? Or are we gonna have to move some money from other places to then reallocate for that?
I allocated the anticipation of having to do another vehicle. So there's about 20 to 30,000 in the budget itself. So then we're gonna look at that from revenue. And then I still have one more grant that I've yet to find out if it's going to fund. So it's not, I'm not gonna pay for it tomorrow. So I'm gonna wait a week and wait for United Way to see if we are approved. So then we could add another 5,000 if we fully fund it to the 7,500 that we already have. And that would reduce the cost to the agency.
Any,
2/3 of it's already been budgeted. is what
Pretty
you're
much,
saying.
yes.
Right.
Ballpark. So we're-
Ballpark, 2/3 has already been budgeted. yeah.
Pretty small, $10,000 max, you know,
Right.
that in the grand scheme of what, a $2 million budget, pretty much, or,
Yeah,
I mean, you
it's
know,
probably, it's about almost 3 million.
so.
well, you
I had one other good guy question. There's all sorts of interesting information on this, but it doesn't say how many actual trips we made.
I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you that
So no.
Oh,
I've been for
on my
April.
sheet.
For
On
April.
the
How many
sheet,
trips did you take in April?
35.
Oh, that's.
It's right
that's
at the
total
bottom.
Number,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, that was smaller than I expected, so that's why I asked.
And it can fluctuate. I mean, by the end of today, I could get 5 requests.
Oh, I understand.
I already
Yeah,
have
it goes up
requests
and down.
coming in for June, even July. But I can't,
And it's been climbing every month. if I
It
remember.
has. It
Okay,
has.
Once the word gets
So,
out.
so we did 35 total transports during April, which is one a day.
Some, it can be 1 a day. Some, like I said, I have one
On
right
average,
now that
yeah.
goes 3 days a week
On average. it's-
through the month.
Yeah, I understand.
It could
Yeah.
range anywhere from 1 a day, 2 a day.
Yeah.
I might skip a day and then have 3.
Yeah.
And there's not weekends in there, so that would be.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, and that was close to 8 hours per trip. So people are not going to Alpena to see the doctor, they're going.
Some of them are, some of them
Well,
are.
some of them are, but obviously some of them are going to Ann Arbor or
Well,
something. Like,
For instance, the 2 now that are going 3 days a week, that's a 4-hour layout.
okay, so
We're
they're
there
going- so
4
they're going
hours while
downstate
we're
somewhere.
waiting
Yeah,
for
or there's a
them.
wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wait while there's a doctor.
Right, okay. All righty, thank you.
Excellent. Pam?
Has VA now, are we the VA?
I'm still waiting. I've
Okay.
talked to Tony, as another email is gonna go out to him this week to find out if Alcona County has agreed to, I don't know if the guys have met because of COVID,
I'm
you
not
know,
sure.
so, but I know that they were amenable for us to provide sole transportation for them. And my next call next month is back to Logisticare, is to see if they're gonna redo contracts now that COVID is gonna be waning now. We were 95% done with Logisticare and signing to become a Medicaid provider through them, but they canceled because of COVID restrictions. So we'll see about that. So, and then now as our snowbirds are now coming back to their cabin after Memorial Day weekend, we're just really expecting to get it inundated with requests because Memorial Day weekend, I live on Hubbard Lake Road and it's quiet. Now I can't walk it because it is
Yeah.
trucks and cars. I mean, the other day were 32 bikes and I'm like, why are you back?
Yeah.
My woods used to be so quiet. Now I
Yes.
hear, all this music and I was like, I hate you all. Go back. No, I mean, I love you all. I'm on camera. So I love all of you people coming back home.
That's our county income, right?
Yes,
Yes.
love them, love them.
Yeah.
And we have folks, like you said, snowbirds are coming back
Yep.
that will resume their medical treatment.
Yes.
Mhm.
Here, yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
I
with the
anticipate
VA.
the summer's
I
being
understand.
very busy
Mhm.
for
Okay.
transport. And as the word gets out, like Stan just said, this is still largely word of mouth and some flyers. And it is really starting to snowball. And I think this is a needed, because there is no transportation authority for Alcona County. You either have to use Alpena or you have to use IASCO, and you're then beholden to their schedules. So I think, I think it's a good thing.
And there again, like I said, we're more personalized. We are door-to-door service.
Right.
We pick you up at your door. We get you to your appointment. We take you back home to your door and we make sure that you are safely in your home.
Which is great. Any other questions for Shauna? Okay, so we have a proposal on the table. Yes.
I have a
Delora.
question. Where is Freedom Motors?
Down by Jackson.
Did we question, like, if Alcona Motors could get us something like this, or?
They would send, Alcona Motors would provide there are no GM vans anymore, period. So they would have to find a used one for us. Then they would send it to Mobility or Freedom
Yes.
to add all this stuff to it.
Oh.
Because they don't have the capability. I speak because I used to work there.
But it'd be nice to keep our money local if we can.
It would be, unfortunately, you can't always do that.
It's a specialized
I
market.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's specialty
Yeah.
thing.
And not only that, these Dodges, these are like the last of the last dinosaurs because they are going to quit building the chassis.
Yeah, there will be no
These
more
things-
American-made minivans.
These
Soon.
vehicles are going as fast as they get these replicated and they're already sold, they're already gone.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit slim picking.
Yeah,
Choosing.
absolutely. Any questions on the proposal to purchase? I would entertain a motion to give Lenny the authority to purchase the 2020 Dodge Caravan as proposed.
I'll move that.
Will? has
I'll
moved.
second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I think that we have to make sure that motion is very specific on the dollar amount.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can go back in time and clearly articulate what the purchase price
Yes.
was authorized.
You could say up to $43,930. That way.
If you negotiate.
Let me add $10 because I remember last time it was a $10 plate fee. So
Yeah.
not $43,940 up to that amount for the
Is
purchase.
this delivered?
Yes,
That price is delivered?
we will work out delivery. What they did is they drove it up for us the last time.
So, all right, so we have,
So I'll move to authorize Lenny to purchase this particular Dodge Caravan for as much as $43,940.
room to negotiate. That's a good thing.
And yeah, just room to negotiate.
So
Okay.
negotiate, Lenny.
We'll try to hack.
All right, and you still want to second that?
Yes. I'll
Okay, so
second.
it's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we need a roll call vote because we're spending money, please, Madam Secretary.
Dan,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
myself, yes. Rollins.
Yeah.
Stan,
Yes.
Stephanie,
That's not paperwork, all that.
is she here?
Okay.
Yeah, she's still there. She has to take herself off mute.
Oh, okay.
If you're on the phone, it's *6.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other board members on this?
Kim, oh, she doesn't.
But she can for the consensus if you would like to get her.
Yeah, Kim. For consensus.
She can't vote.
She can't vote, but she can
She
give her
can vote
consensus
for-
You give her
She can say.
to show that she supports it.
I
Kim.
support.
Thank you, Kim. All right, so that is a unanimous
Aye.
yes. All right, motion is carried.
Thank you.
All right, food bank, is Deb here or are we doing Paul?
We're gonna skip Deb. Deb has a family emergency that she's dealing
Oh,
with.
okay. Paul, the ACDC, not the band.
Like, all right.
I wish, I was all excited last time.
I didn't have my notes in the board if you want to pass those around.
I'm so excited for a
I
moment.
was too. I was too.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we had our first person here on April 14th.
Thank you.
And then the following week, we were closed for a couple of weeks because of COVID issue. But since then, I've had somebody here on May 6th and also May 12th, so approximately once a week, had someone here in attendance at the good and bad thing. Bad thing, I wasn't able to attend the food pop-up on the May 12th, but I'm happy that we're having people attend the day program now, so that's a good thing. And they've been averaging about 4 hours each time, so it's a good portion of the day that they have been here.
One or two.
One person right now. Now, that said, I have done started another assessment. We weren't able to finish it. And Meg and I have been trying to reach out to the individual to have them come here to finish the assessment. So one of us could watch the individual's wife while we finish the assessment with the individual. So I can see 2 people coming in their near future. And we continue to reach out to other individuals as well. We had some activities, but for instance, puzzles, we had 1,000-piece puzzles, 500-piece puzzles. I think the fewest number we had was 100-piece. And the individual that I've been working with, she was very interested in doing puzzles, but the 100-piece was even a little bit too difficult. So I went out and purchased a couple, not very expensive puzzles, but I have a 48-piece puzzle, and I wanted to make it kind of adult looking like too, not kid oriented. So that's a 48-piece, and then I also have a 13-piece, and that's what I started her out with. And then also a puzzle that has the color pieces of puzzle. There's blue, there's red, so that would help the individual too. And this is, I believe, a 38-piece, something like that puzzle. I bought some puzzles for activities to do. And then also some books that I purchased, picture books. One of wild animals and another one of dog breeds. And I'm using this to just get some discussion talking, and what I found out as I was going through this. Of course, the individual, she had mentioned that she had owned a dog at one point in time, and all of a sudden she's reading the words underneath. I didn't know that she could read, so I'm gonna order maybe a couple more books that has maybe a sentence or two at the bottom of each page. And I want to keep them physically and mentally active as long as possible. That's my goal. So, and each individual that's going to come is going to be a little bit different. And the more I get to know the person, the more activities I can think about getting. And again, I'm also looking at free activities online all the time. And there are free activities that I can print out color pictures, dot to dot, things like that, that are also free. So not looking at purchasing all the time, but when I do, I want to make sure that it's going to last. You know, I don't want to purchase something all the time where maybe it's a art something and you use it one time and it's gone. These are gonna last, the puzzles, the books and things like that. So some of the activities that I have done is dominoes, the match game. Again, exercise, I've gotten the individual on a stationary bike. She has really enjoyed that. And again, that's keeping their legs moving. I've had her participate in the chair exercise class, and she followed along as best as she could for the very first time, because they're doing these activities all the time. Then also last time on the 12th, when she was here, I had her come sit in with the knitting club, just to see how she would react. I wanted to, again, get her in to socialize with other individuals, because a lot of times they're just sitting at home by themselves. And so my goal is to socialize as much as possible. And we were there 10 or 15 minutes. It was getting close to lunch, I believe, but one of the things I was thinking about purchasing so she could participate is kind of those, remember those pot holder looms?
Yeah.
I want to do that and just see how she can do, so she can actually participate as well. Now, as far as the fitness classes, we have a program called My Senior Center, and I want to start reporting on numbers, statistics. But right now I can't do that. They are reporting on people that are signed up for the class, but I can't get a report on the people that actually attended. Now, I can print it out and get those, but I should be able to get a report from that. So if not, I will start just hand counting to get your numbers. And then people after the meeting, you may notice in the front entrance, the main entrance, that there's new shelving that's put up as well to take the place of an old cabinet that the doors weren't really closing well. And I think it brightened up the entrance as well. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but do you think maybe if you ask the knitting group, they might have one of those pot holder things that they would donate? But I do want to make a comment too. The lady that Paul is talking about, I know her very well. She's a good friend of mine, a relative. And
Don't identify her.
no.
Okay.
And when I was here the day Paul had her up here doing the exercise, and I gotta thank you, Paul, because he would take her hand and say, move it like this and then back, move this one over here. And he would physically show her how to do it. I was very impressed with how you handled her.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
well,
have a comment, suggestion. In September, presumably, we'll be back to Grand Art with kids and the seniors, Friday afternoons, 4th and 5th graders coming in to do art.
Yeah, that's already on my list of things
Okay,
to do.
well.
My hope is by then I'll have a few more individuals attending and make it more worthwhile for that. But yep, that's already on my list.
I have a grant that I wrote to the Community Foundation of Northeast Michigan that I need to finish. It's about $1,500 for an art Are you gonna be doing anything during the summer for kids? Because we need to use that for art supplies and do some classes.
We have, through June 21st through 29th, we're running presumably a kid art for, again, 3rd through 5th graders. If you have money to kick into that,
I would love to kick some seniors into that, but yes, I want to try to figure out, because we got to partner it in, but yes, the grant's called EPIC, Engaging People in Creativity. And we were given that because COVID shut us all down.
Yes.
We weren't allowed to do any art classes or anything like that. So we've been given an extension to use the money within this fiscal year. So I will be reaching out, and if you can give me some information about that, and I'll send that to the grantors and see if we can partner
Did
with
you
them.
need to add adults to it? Is that?
Yes. Yeah. Like if it's like something like your senior art program, like that you would do on the Fridays where people would come in.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that we can kick in if seniors can paint.
We can almost certainly do that. At the moment, we have only one child enrolled. So.
Probably have a senior that would match that.
There you go.
One-on-one service.
So we need some more kids.
Yeah, I mean, because it's open, we would pay for the supplies, the
Yes, we
tarps
would be
and
happy
canvases
to
and things like
convert
that.
that into a grand art.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Any other questions for Paul? All right. Thank you for your good work, Paul.
Thank you.
Deb McKay, kinship program.
Hey, Deb, are you on? Can you just give, instead of kinship, give an update on the senior Project Fresh?
Yes, we're bringing back the Market Fresh back to Alcona County, where the seniors can receive a booklet of $20 coupons, $2 in increments, towards fresh produce that is raised in Michigan. And we are collaborating. This is a Michigan State University program. And we are having the application on our website for seniors to sign up. And also on June 8th, here at 9 o'clock, seniors can come in and sign up for it. And we will also have some education, hopefully, for them to go through about nutrition and helping them with the best ways to use the coupons.
Terrific.
And these coupons are completely free. So all they would have to do is just meet income guidelines. And that's about 150 or 108% of federal property guidelines. So we have those questionnaires. We don't have to verify, but the senior just would have to attest on our system that they would have to attest that they are below those guidelines, sign, and then they would receive those
Can they
funds.
use those then at stores, farm markets?
It would
How
have
can
to
those
be farmer's market. I tried to work with our current ARA and to set up a market. Unfortunately, we don't have a market set up right now. We have loose vendors, and I'm not sure the vendors. We were told that the ARA is no longer going to be meeting in 2021. So they're not doing it this year. But we've also given the seniors contact information to go to the Alpena as well as the IOSCO. It is my hope that we could have gotten together 6 months ago to have this ready. I still am very hopeful that we can work with Farm to Fork as well as, some of the ARA groups to have a viable market, and that money stays here in Alcona County.
Well, Farm to Fork has been unable to find so far anyone to serve as a market manager. They're still looking.
We offer, because we could handle as a market manager, and we would be willing to hold that position if everyone would agree to do that. As the market manager, we would be, we would take the risk, so to speak. There wouldn't be any risk, but we would pay the vendors, and then we would get reimbursed from the state. So the individuals, the farmer.
Okay, you have an actual body that would do that, because what we've found is we can't find anyone who wants to be the manager.
ACCOA would do it.
You would do it.
We would
I will
serve
call
that.
Judy. Judy will be happy. It will make several people happy.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Deb? And
Because
nothing-
it's already an ASA program. It just makes sense that we just keep it in our ASA house.
Okay.
So we've already handled hundreds of thousands of dollars of grants and tracking. So it just makes sense to keep it in-house.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
If they're okay with working with
Yeah,
us.
we were, we were looking for a person to actually, be there and control things, without realizing or use.
It wouldn't be me. It would be
I
one
know.
of my beautiful staff members.
One of
And I would be like, hey, this is now your baby.
One of your surrogates, yes, okay.
Excellent. Nothing on the kitchen program.
Nothing right now.
All right, thank you, Deb. Financial reports, Tony.
Morning, excuse me.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of the 20 or 30 page financial report that you got with your board book. One thing I just want to point out is our client donations. I'm sure everybody is aware that we service our clients. There's not a fee for any of our services. It's all suggested donation. And in the month of April, for our meals and our in-home services, our clients donated just over $5,000, which I know is not a ton of money, but we appreciate every dollar that we get from our clients because, again, it's suggested donation. They do not have to pay this money. So $5,000. And that is up from March is $4,700, which is really great. We're seeing our services increase. So the donations are kind of going up a little bit. I did a quick math with the meals. Julie served 2,400 meals, just slightly over 2,400 meals. And we received almost $4,000 in donations for our meals. So on average, it was about $1.59 per meal, which we received. So not too shabby. I know it costs us more than that to make it and for the staff to cook it and all of that, but not bad. I want to also point out that we are at 68.79% of our total expenses budgeted for the year. So 7 months going in, we're sort of right kind of on track at what Lenny had budgeted for the year with the millage money, donations, NEMSCA money. We've done a lot of spending to get to where we're at right now. Hopefully the end of the year, our spending is going to decrease because we just got a ton of stuff in and a lot of grant money in. So we should be settling down on that. I want to point out, I know everybody knows that we have an accounting service that does a lot of our numbers. They pay the bills, they do the payroll, they do all of that. And I supply them with all this information. So we're working on integrating QuickBooks into everything that we do so that I can generate the reports in-house instead of going to our accountant to run these financial reports that you get every month. And that will help ease the fees on our accounting end of it and hopefully help Lenny and I look at numbers and all the other departments look at numbers easier. So our accountant is inputting the numbers into QuickBooks Online right now as we speak. Of the codes, there's a lot of codes, as you can tell from these long reports. So it hopefully should be up and running within the next couple of months.
It should shorten your reports by at least 10 pages.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be able to condense a lot.
Any questions for Tony?
I had one new kid item. Look at page 7. The numbers across the page. There's no label at the top of those columns, and that's true with other continuing pages. This makes it hard for me to read. So I'm not, I end up doing this.
Right, as far as what column labels.
Yeah, it would be lovely if we could get column labels on all the continuation pages. That's it.
Okay.
I agree. These reports are very hard to read. Not very user friendly too much. So hopefully once I'm able to generate different reporting, we might be able to make it a lot easier to read.
Maybe the QuickBooks will do that automatically.
Yeah, it might.
Yeah. But anyway, that's something that, would be helpful.
Absolutely. Good point. Well, thank you. Any other questions for Tony? All right. Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lenny, you're up.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through some stuff and hopefully we get out here ahead of time here. So we'll knock this out in a quick bang bang fashion. So let's go with reopening. So I reached out to the directors in our group. There's about 12 directors of all the other senior centers, and most of them are holding till they hear from ACCA. ACCA is the Adult and Aging Services Agency, which is a wing of the Department of Health and Human Services, which they follow my OSHA guidelines. We are not a restaurant. We are not like a regular business. So we are considered a health service program. And we're not a government agency, but we are a vendor of the county. So we have to have very stringent guidelines of the county's interests, as well as the state of Michigan's interests, as well as all of our other grant funders. So each individual on the chain gets to put their 2 cents, and sometimes it's 8. So we have to make sure that we are honoring them by what they're asking us to do. And what they're asking us to do is to play it safe. However, I did take the opportunity, as you know, my personality is to reach out to the local health department, and I asked Corey Upper to provide me with the county numbers. And he said, this will change, but as the moment I spoke to him, which was on Monday, as of noon Monday, the county's total vaccination rate was 51.67%. So half the county is vaccinated. That is not counting the people that are coming back. Because there's no way for us to get that aggregate data, because some people were in Florida, some people were in Texas, some people were in Ohio. They're not gonna self-report that if they've been vaccinated. So there's no way to tell. So right now, we're at 51.67% counties that have received their initial either first dose or have been fully vaccinated from COVID-19. We have 47.5 that have completed both doses. Okay, so that's 47% that have done both doses. As it currently states on the Safe Start Initiative chart that I pulled up, I didn't want to print it out because it's like 100 pages. But currently, Oconee County sits at D. The highest is E, and at D, there is supposed to be a trigger of a lockdown. Now, we haven't done that. We haven't really shut down a lot. We're still back in the restaurants. We're still back in the communities. However, it is still suggested that we maintain masking, social distancing, and doing all the things that go with that. Okay, and then finally, I looked at rate of infections and where we at. At one time, we were at 200 to 300 cases in the last couple of months. That has decreased and tapered off. So when the country felt the surge, there was a rural surge that we're kind of circulating and talking about, which did put a strain on some of our resources in the state. So people had to go to Mid-Michigan, and people who were at Mid-Michigan had to go to Saginaw, and the people at Saginaw had to go to Ann Arbor. So it just trickled down. So that has kind of waned a little bit. Vaccination efforts in this county has steeply increased as the amount of availability, but people wanting the vaccination has kind of decreased and tapered off. So as it stands today, what the prevailing wisdom is, stay the course, let's see what happens. So everybody's kind of doing the buck passing. I have always been the person that kind of the Woodrow Wilson, it stops with me, I take the buck. So I believe, as of right now, that we should hold serve until at least we get the guidelines and guidance from ASA, as well as the Department of Health and Human Services. But I would like to schedule fully reopening July 7, which will be a Tuesday.
6th.
Yeah, 6. Wherever that Tuesday is, right after the 4th of July, because we're closed 4th of July Monday, because the 4th of July falls on a weekend on Sunday. So we close 4th of July Monday. That Tuesday, we would be fully reopened, barring a crazy outbreak from the country. So that would mean, we're now moving from societal protection to personal responsibility. So that means if you come in and you haven't been vaccinated and you get sick, it is your own fault. That's the way I would like to see it. I hate to be that brutal, but I think that's where we're getting to as a nation, to where it's now personal responsibility. If you haven't been vaccinated, if you choose not to wear a mask and you get sick from COVID-19, it is your personal fault. So I'm okay with following the way the trends are going. So that means, you know, I would also be stopping our COVID-19 screenings that we screen all of our staff weekly, which is test screenings. We've been doing that weekly with all of our people. You should see them. They're in hazmat suits and they're screening all of our employees, you know, all 25 of them before they go out to people's homes on Tuesday and Wednesday. And we've been doing that. I would like to start phasing that out as we get closer and closer to July. And then reworking our COVID-19 policy. I would leave it up to the board if you guys would like to. Right now, I've been working with emergency powers, but if you guys would like to formally say, okay, we just trust you to follow the current guidelines, and then reopening when you get the suggestion, or you want to keep it as a board voting that you guys would decide as a group, you know, based on the board meetings, we can do either way. But that's what I would like to bring to the board as a proposition. Either you let me decide when we open, or you guys decide when we open.
What's the board's feeling on that?
I think we should leave it up to Lenny, because keeps track of all that stuff, so in my opinion, that let Lenny decide when to do it.
I see a nod head, I hear a yes, I hear another yes. Anybody else?
I agree with Dolores, to leave it up to Lenny. He's there every day and he sees what's going on.
I'm happy to let Lenny do it. I think you should give us some notice.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks notice before you change,
Right.
just so we know, and we can
And when
watch
people
along
ask
with you
us
to
too,
see
yeah.
if there's a sudden
Right.
spike.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Any other comments for? All right, I would entertain a motion then to give Lenny the power to decide when to reopen the center with all the regulations and things.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Okay, Lenny?
So then now everyone will come to my door and asking, when are they gonna open
That's
it? Okay, next fun thing is, on the day that we would formally reopen, hopefully on that July 7th, 6th, whatever, it's the day after the 6th, July 6th, I will write it down, July 6th.
Tuesday after the 4th.
Tuesday after the 4th, we bought a popcorn machine, karaoke. I would like to have a party. Yeah, I just want to have a welcome back celebration, just kind of a fun day. Welcome back to the senior center. Let's look at all this different things. We do have a budget. We have what's called an administrative budget that line items, things for like appreciation. So we already have a popcorn machine. I did already procure a karaoke machine to replace the old one that we had. And it's all set up. You know, I know we got some good voices out there. I will do Journey. But, you know, I really want to have a kind of a welcome back day on that day and make it a big thing, because I can tell you right now, we have one lady in our fitness classes that drives over 35 to 40 minutes because we're the only center that actually allows fitness, indoor fitness. And she just said, I've been alone and crazy. And, you know, she's fighting back tears, but she's just like, this is my outlet. And the fact that you are doing this every day is amazing. I get to see humans. So, you know, and we've been blessed to have this big hall, and they spread out all around this place, and they sound like a herd of, you know, they sound like a herd moving around. I don't want to put an animal to that because I don't want to offend anyone. But it sounds very loud to all of us. See, we can tell where everybody's at. So, and they use all the equipment, and it's so fun to see our parking lot filled in the mornings and people parking down the road or inside the road. You know, so it just shows you that, you know, we have 30 to 40 people that are taking these classes. So it's really great. So that's on the agenda there. Next is the Edward Jones. Last time I talked about moving money. I gave you the Edward Jones Money Market Fund report. So that is like 60 pages. It's basically kind of a state of the account of where we're at, what with the gains we had. But I did talk to Sheila, who was our money advisor. She recommended that we would remove more than most of everything up north of $250,000 in the account to a cash fund that will yield more than a bank regular. But we still have some major purchases. As you can see, we just approved that. I want us to still allocate that plus 50,000. So I would suggest we move $450,000 from the account to that cash account. So that would still be drawing interest while interest rates are still well. I mean, right now, Edward Jones is always going to beat a brick and mortar bank on interest rates. It's like a fraction of a percent that we're receiving in interest. So I did also find out that we do not have to create a new owner account. That would just be because we've already established the full owner, and it would just be opening a separate fund in that little area. So we would not have to create a new fund with that. So if the board is okay with that allocation and that moving funds from out of our primary bank and moving that into Edward Jones, I would say $450,000 will be safely and we can accrue interest. I do not believe that we would need that money, probably not for the remainder of the fiscal, barring any type of craziness that might come. And that's still looking at to project the things that we'll have to pay in the next couple
So
months.
is that a liquid fund that if we do have an emergency need,
We can move it
get
right
at
back.
it?
It comes right back with no fee. Right now, the FDIC only assures $250,000 and we have more than that in that account.
That's what she was talking about.
Any thoughts from the board on that?
I know Sheila had brought that up before. I think it's an excellent idea because it's like a win-win for us.
Right.
Because if we can get it if we need it, call her just like we would call whomever.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're actually making some money.
Earning more interest, yeah.
Um, If we have all this money in Edward Jones, and then we want the government to pay for a new building, are they gonna look at that and say, well, you've got all this money, why do you need ours?
They would do the
Does it
same
work
thing
that
with our
way?
current bank account.
That's how it's the same
It's the
thing.
same thing. It doesn't matter. We still turn over all of our investments. We still
Right.
show whatever we have. And that's not how that really works. So like.
So they don't care how much money we've already got, they're gonna give us
Well,
enough to build a building.
It's not that cut and dry. There's some other factors. It's not based off of your income, it's based on the need of the community. And that's why we do things like a feasibility study. And we turn in like, well, we're gonna be paying for a MISTA feasibility study. And MISTA would do a study for the community and say, based on our information that you've paid for, we believe that your community needs this. So then your budget then becomes superseded. Now it becomes the state of Michigan is saying your community needs this and
So
we're
they
gonna help
don't
out.
care.
Right.
Somebody has to agitate it. Somebody has to be the one to start the push up the hill because, they're not just gonna walk around and be like, oh, you need something, you need something. Somebody's got to be the squeaky wheel to say, hey, we need this. And then once we get their attention, we have to make pretty nice proposal to say, please help.
Okay.
And then they go with the biggest, best need and that's the way it works.
Yeah. Good question. Any other questions on that? All right, I would then entertain a motion to move $450,000 from our regular bank account, is that right, money, to the Edward Jones money account to earn more interest and still be liquid.
I would make a motion to allow Lenny to move $450,000 from the bank account at where?
Huron Community.
At your community to Edward Jones for the purpose of earning a higher interest rate.
Have a motion. Do we have a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right. We probably don't need a roll call, but let's do it anyways because we are moving money.
Okay. Dan O'Connor,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
myself, yes. Roland,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and Kim, just, are you on board too?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Awesome.
Okay, in your board book, I also put in there the article that was written in the Oconee Review about the federal technology grant. It was a very good article, well written by Mary. Thank you, Mary, for that. If you can see Jessie's smiling face, she loved being in the paper.
Yeah. I'm sure she did.
So that was a great opportunity to share with the rest of the community the hard work that ACCOA is doing for them. And once the building reopens, they'll be able to see those rewards. I took the liberty at the last time we talked at the board meeting, we had requested a contingency offers draft. The drafted and sent, or would be sent to the owners of the property next to the Dollar General.
It's the 500.
So that was drafted by our current attorney, who did this pretty much just out of the goodness of his heart, put together an officer purchase agreement with the contingencies that the board requested. I'll highlight a few of these. It is in legalese, so I will try to summarize some of the legalese instead of reading it verbatim. So basically, in section, on the second page, under general conditions, it says that on 4, if the offer is accepted by the seller and if the title can be conveyed in the condition required, the purchaser agrees to complete the sale in accordance with additional conditions set forth. And then it goes down to spell out the conditions. So all taxes and assessments have become, and there's no lien on the land, that we would get a favorable report on the assessments. Let's see. This would be a cash sale on the secondary, on section 2 on the first page. Purchaser hereby authorized to make this offer and a deposit sum of $2,000. That would be 5%. That was very similar to the same language that we did on the other purchase agreement that the board considered for the Oconee Health Center. So we just kept this a very same conditional offer at 5%. I believe $500 was just too low. And I really want them to hold it while we're getting the environmental studies and the wetland studies done. And then, as you can see on page 3, so we agreed to pay the cost of revenue stamps and title insurance costs, the sale contingent upon a successful result of geotechnical investigation, soil boring to be completed by the purchaser expense within 120 days from the seller's acceptance of this offer. The sale is contingent upon the satisfactory full topographical survey, and the sale contingent upon the satisfactory phase 1 environmental study to be completed.
Yeah.
So that is the draft contingency purchase offer. And if you guys approve this, we would then submit that with a signature to the Overland Group. And if they agree to the contingency, then we would have a deal on the table. I do know that they have a 150-page counter contract that would be coming, which would be the official one. And our attorney did say that he would stay on to review that portion. We will have to find another attorney. We were informed of that. There are some concerns. I won't go into greater detail. Our board president and our vice chair also know the reasoning behind it. I don't want to do it in public, but there were some concerns. So we will have to find another attorney on retainer. But he will continue with finishing this project with us.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a proposal on the table to allow Lenny to to make this offer to purchase based on the contingencies in the offer, which we all agreed to at the last board meeting that would be necessary as outs for us if any of those, bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, that was you.
Yes,
I
yes,
thought it
you
was
saw
somebody
me.
online. If, you know, if any of those three studies fail, where we're not able to purchase or not able to use the land, then we would have an out of the contract. So I would entertain a motion. Oh, before we go on, I want to do this. This is still valid?
Yep, that's still valid.
Okay. There was a concern brought up last month at the board meeting that the zoning was improper for that. And I have here a signed letter from the zoning administrator stating that that land is zoned B1 General Business District. And it says said zoning classification is adequate to support the proposed uses of the property, which is a community center and multifamily housing. So the zoning is appropriate for what we're intending to do.
Okay.
Yes, well,
Okay, that was gonna be my question, is that's what's missing on this offer is.
yes.
Me too. That's what I was gonna say too. So good.
Yes. There was some discussion last time about whether we might be subject to 2 zoning groups.
Pam will be able to update you on that.
Okay.
As the township supervisor, I talked with Ted Summers and I haven't spoke with Troy, but with Ted Summers and our zoning administrator, Adam Breggy. This is all ACCOA. This is all Lincoln Village's property.
Okay.
We have, Guston has no interest in
So
it.
Dustin's not in there at all. Okay.
Guston is not involved.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So then
Okay.
this letter from Troy is
And that
adequate to
that
be.
covers the
That
zoning
covers
issue.
Yeah,
So-
because he
everything.
would be the one that they would use.
And
Correct.
I'm a happy captain.
Does
We-
it
we
have
had-
anything to do about the wetland?
That's my next,
That's
that's
the
the
next-
next part. We gotta get to this part to get to this part.
Yep. Okay, so do we have a motion to accept or to propose or to send this purchase offer to
The overland group.
the Overland Group, who is the
Shouldn't we-
owner of?
Shouldn't we talk about the wetland deal first?
If you would like.
Or
Yeah.
is that two different,
Well,
entirely
I
different
can
things?
just, we can do it this way.
Yeah.
So this is the request for bids. I had it bidded out to agencies. Now, here is the caveat. So I want to explain to you what happens is that MISTA has guidelines for individuals to be able to use or to do their geotechnical, soil boring, and environmental surveys. And if these individuals have not done MISTA products before, or LITEC products before, I know it's a big acronym, but if they've never worked with the state of Michigan and MISTA, they're not allowed to bid. If they've never done a project that's in certain zones, they're not allowed to bid. So because we have wetlands, that narrowed the category even more. So we only got 2, and these 2 individuals have put forth their proposals. Now, all of these pages is my email track back and forth. So you can see I am very thorough with emails back and forth. I gave you my entire email train, but I gave you the top pages, what you want. And there were 2 bid proposals, of which the first bid proposal came out total, and this is the same company doing our phase 1 environmental study and the wetland delineation, because there are 3 acres of wetland. But you just can't say there's 3 acres of wetlands. You gotta know exactly where the wetlands start, end. So we're just guessing that it's about 3 acres. It could be less than that. Okay, so we overguessed, but they will be able to do that. The phase 1 survey by PM is 2,800 for the ESA, that's the environmental, and the wetlands is $7,015. We did not know, but we gave both opportunities to give us assessment on noise assessment by it being residential. MISTA came back and said that's not necessary. So that part dropped off. So their total came out to $9,815. These are apples to apples, so we're not comparing apples to oranges. They're both providing the exact same service. They both are MISTA approved. ASTI is the phase 1 survey was $2,600, and the wetland delineation EGL environmental topographical study is $6,100. So if we were to just compare apples to apples, I would suggest going with ASTI because it's a cheaper estimate. And neither one of them knew about each other's estimate. They just had to submit a blind bid.
And if
So-
I recall the email thread somewhere in here,
SIDOT group.
SIDOT group said that they are apples to apples as far as quality and all that.
I'm comfortable making that motion to award it to, what is it?
ASTI.
For, make sure we get it all right here, $8,700.
Right, for the phase 1 ESA and the wetlands delineation, Eagle.
ASTI, right?
Yep.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Well,
I do too.
Okay.
Go
You
ahead.
you can go first.
No, that's, all right.
we're not gonna
My,
spend 30
my
minutes
question
arguing
is,
about who's gonna.
my question is, should we go ahead with this, or should we wait till the other board members that's not here can see it?
We have a quorum.
We have a
We have
quorum.
I know that, but
There's,
I still think it's important that all the board members see it.
We're
Everyone
missing
is
one.
invited to be at this meeting.
We're missing one
Yeah,
board
there's
member,
one.
so we have a quorum. And here's the thing, and we're not trying to do anything nefarious, Dolores, but I want you to understand is that we did the exact same thing on the previous offer for Apona Health Center.
Right.
It's gonna take, we're gonna have to spend some money to see this. This is a requirement from any other program to see if the land is good to be developed and everything else. We cannot use what the Dollar General used because they only did their delineation on the acreage which they used.
Right.
So we have to explore the rest of it, but this is part of the process. And if you look at grand scale of things, of what we're shooting for, the cost allocation is like a penny versus a million. So we're spending a penny and getting a million. That's the cost because we're only spending 8,700 and we're asking for 26 million. So it's a small investment in the amount of what the budget of the senior center really is.
And it's something that has to be done.
And it has to be done.
The longer it gets delayed, then I mean, the government stuff, grants and things move very at the pace of slow moving lava to begin with.
So are we changing this now to multi-family housing?
It has
My
always,
understanding it from the very beginning, it's supposed to have been senior housing.
no, I never said that. I said it would always be with the highest score possible. I said that we have senior housing on the table and multifamily housing on the table, and whatever we score the highest. And currently, I forget the acronym, MISTA has just come out with a new initiative to fund more rural-based projects. And now that you have MISTA's money hitting with the Family First money that's coming out from the feds, from the American Rescue Plan, they have an abundance of money that are sitting there in the pot. And what we're trying to do is make it advantageous so where they would invest in the project. Now, the reason why it's more advantageous for a multifamily project versus senior housing. A multifamily project also is senior housing. Because you're just saying not just seniors can live here, anybody and seniors can live here. When you just say only seniors, you're cutting an entire swath of the community. Remember how I explained, the federal government doesn't really care about one specific group. They want to hit all the groups with the least amount of effort as possible. So that's how we try to leverage that by making it a multifamily housing that will bring in seniors and other workforce individuals.
That answer your question?
This is, I just like to add to that when you do, aside from the funding part, you would not want to make it so restrictive. And when you do that just to senior housing, a restricted age and all that stuff, you're getting into a whole nother issue potentially in the future with, you know, how you've limited the use of that space. So even if initially it is mostly seniors, great. You know, you don't want to restrict it early on, I wouldn't think. My other question is there any need to round that number up? Do you think these estimates are pretty exact? They know what they're getting into, like the 8,700 isn't going to turn into 9,500?
Contract. So that's what the numbers on the contract.
All right, good. I saw it.
All right, any further discussion? The person that made the motion does have to leave the meeting here, so it's,
He's got a question.
Will, you had a question.
I was gonna ask if we couldn't use Dollar General's wetlands.
Oh,
but
okay, so that was
We
answered.
got
that answered, so.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing and seeing none, we do need a roll call vote to approve oh, did we have a second? Yeah, we have a second.
Stan.
Stan.
Oh, no, I think Rollin seconded it.
Rollin.
Rollin, did you second that?
I
Second?
don't remember. It's
Yeah,
been
it
a
was
long
wrong.
time.
It was wrong.
It was Rollin. Okay, so to use the ASTI or ASTI group for the total amount of $8,700 for phase 1 ESA and the wetlands delineation. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, we need a roll call vote, please.
Okay. Okay, Dan,
Yes.
Dolores,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Pam, yes. Rollins,
Yeah,
Dan,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Will,
Yes.
I also have to log off the meeting at noon, guys. I just wanted to let you know. I have a
Okay.
12 o'clock patient.
and Kim, for your
Yes.
input.
Yep, I agree.
Excellent. The vote is unanimous. Motion carries.
It's timing on that, Lenny. They give you that when they could start.
In a month.
You got one more.
And then-
We need to
You have to
approve the.
You had two
Oh,
motions.
Yeah, two motions.
Yeah.
That's right, we do have that, yeah. And any further discussion on the offer to purchase? I thought we voted on that, sorry.
No,
Didn't
we
we
did
vote on
not.
it last meeting?
Yes, you did
We
vote
did
on the
once,
offer,
but
but you
they-
never saw the offer. I brought the offer and you're okay
Yeah.
with the vote from the
We
last
did
one?
vote and then,
Oh, that's right, we did. That's right, we
then it
did.
got tabled, yes.
The only change was we went from a $500 deposit to a $2,000 deposit.
So if you want to make it,
Let's make another motion just so that we're all safe. Who wants to make that motion?
Well,
I'll be happy to. Let's authorize Lenny to send in the offer to purchase for the land that we've been talking about with a $2,000 earnest money.
Excellent. Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Dan,
yes, Sam.
Dolores,
I was
yes.
just gonna say it. You're-
Mike,
Yes.
Pam, yes. Roland,
Yeah,
Dan,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
Will,
Yes.
yes. And Kim Fleming, your opinion?
Yes.
Motion carries by unanimous vote.
Okay.
Okay, anything else from you, Lenny? Okay, do we have any public comment? No, any board member comments?
Just gonna toss out if the board wants to consider that retreat, or some kind of gathering to help ground expectations and behaviors and things like that, during public meetings, including like today, it sounds like it was a no call, no show in this situation. So, I don't think that's how we should function as a group, in terms of, communicating and such. So just food for thought. I'd be glad to help plan that if the board wants to do something.
I think that would be a grand idea.
Next board meeting is going to specifically be all about the building. So your board books will have the reports, but we won't give a report. It'll just be the entire team is going to come here. So people from Detroit are going to come here, from Gaylord are going to be here, and it's just going to be about that, about the building project.
Excellent.
That is going to be what, June
20 something.
9th? 8th. No, the month week before.
Yeah.
Should be the 20.
Be the 4th.
Yep.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Mike, your agenda has committee appointments on it.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I do need to make committee appointments. Dan, I've appointed you. Do you want me to email your appointments to you?
Yes.
All right.
That would be
I'll see you
satisfactory.
later.
Okay.
You have-
And then we have to make a motion to end the meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just real quick. Personnel Committee, Dolores, Stan, and Kim. Finance Committee, Dan, Stephanie, and Will. Policies and Procedures, which would be bylaws, et cetera, Kathleen, Pam, and Stan. That was already decided earlier. Nominations Committee, Stan, Roland, and Stephanie. Fundraising Committee, Kathleen, Dolores, and Kim. Buildings and Grounds, Will, Stan, and Roland. Programs and Planning, Dolores, Pam, and Kim. And I will email that out to everybody.
Yay, because I was gonna say, and you're gonna give me a copy.
Yes, I will. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'm not going to allow it. The meeting is adjourned at 12:01.
Yay.
Congratulations.
And that was 14, that was 17 minutes late.